So Kaveh, thank you very much for making time to share your insights into the future of leadership.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks for the opportunity, Dr. Nick. I'm happy to be here.
It's great to have you. And before we walk into the future, can you please tell us a little bit about your background? Where did you grow up?
Yeah. So I grew up in a very small town in the Eastern Cape. It's called Alice. Mdikane is the Xhosa name. And I grew up on campus at the University of Fort Hare. So that's the small town where the University of Fort Hare is. And born and bred in the Eastern Cape. And my mom worked at the university, so that's where I stayed for at least the first 15 years of my life.
Right.
Yeah.
And tell us, what was your dream career when you grew up?
You know, I love these interviews because they force you to just, reflect and take stock of your life and really think as far back as, as a child. And when I thought about what was my dream career, the first thing that popped up to mind, or in my mind, Dr. Nick, is that I actually enjoyed ballet and modern dance when I was a child. And I was blessed enough because I lived on the university to be exposed to a lot of performing arts. And therefore, since the age of, I think, 5, 6, I started doing ballet. And I also did some modern dance. And I think for me, the dream was always to be some sort of a dancer. Living it up on the world stages. I was a big fan of Janet Jackson at the time, and I honestly thought that I would become one of her background dancers. And I was also a big fan of Brenda Fassie, who was one of the local artists at the time. So that was my dream career, was to be a dancer, or at least I find myself performing in some way or in some form on the world stages. Yeah.
So is it fair to say life is a dance?
Life is a dance, and if it is not, you better make it one. You better make it one.
Right.
Yeah.
And tell us, who inspired you in your early days?
So I think my career and the choice of career that I finally pursued was, for me, inspired by or shaped by my mother.
Yeah.
My mom is a woman who came from humble beginnings. She found herself having to raise 2 young kids at a very early age, because she got divorced from my dad. I think I was around 5 or 6 actually at the time. But she is the type of woman who never allowed her circumstances to determine her future. And my mom had a big dream and a big vision of studying overseas. And she applied for a Fulbright scholarship. I actually remember attending the final interview with her at the University of Port Elizabeth. And we drove from, a small little car from Alice. And we drove to that interview. And she got a Fulbright scholarship to study in Los Angeles at the University of Southern California. And despite the many advice from different people, especially people who had given her this opportunity, and the advice was not to take my brother and me with her because of just the pressure that she would be under while she was studying, especially if she now said, she also has to be a full-time mother at the same time. But despite all of, everyone saying, don't take your kids with you, she ended up taking us with her. And for me, that exposure in just living in LA for 2 years, I was 9 when I arrived in Los Angeles. I couldn't speak a word of English. And my brother and I ended up going to the USC Magnet School, which was a performing arts school. And for me, that exposure is what really unlocked a lot of opportunities for me, but it also gave me you know, it gave me the comfort and the confidence to know that if I really worked hard to pursue my dreams, my goals, and lived my purpose, I would really excel at something. And for me, just being in the creative arts then really sparked an interest in marketing. And I think that's really who inspired, therefore, and shaped my journey. It was my mom unlocking opportunities for me, living overseas. And remember at the time, I mean, I came from apartheid South Africa. I was a 9-year-old girl who had never been in a multiracial school. And I think for me, just that exposure, like I said, is really what sparked or just sparked all this interest in the creative in this creative industry, which is really marketing.
And Kave, today you are one of South Africa's foremost marketers. You've won awards. You've been working for some of the big brands like L'Oreal, SAP Miller, Yum, and obviously now Momentum. Looking
Yes.
back over your career, can you maybe share a highlight or two that stands out and that's really that's still memorable for you today?
Yeah. Funny thing is, probably about three weeks ago, I called an old friend that I worked with at the South African breweries, and we worked together on a brand called Castlelight. And she actually worked with me. I was the brand campaign manager for Castlelight, and she was the assistant brand manager for Castlelight. And we worked on an amazing campaign called Castlelight Unlocks Now. And I called her just to discuss something that was not even work related. And she actually reminded me that she's now the brand director, by the way. How amazing is life? You know, she's done a complete full circle within the Castlelight portfolio and the Castlelight brand. And when we had this conversation, she explained to me that, or she reminded me that Castlelight was actually turning 30 this year. And for me, it just brought back memories of us working on this brilliant campaign called Castlelight Unlocks, which is turning, which turned actually, we celebrated 10 years of Castlelight Unlocks in 2021, but because of COVID, they couldn't have that big experiential event. So that's one of the highlights for me. And then the second highlight, I think, happened earlier on in my career. And that was when I worked at L'Oreal Cosmetics. And I was working as a product manager. And I launched a local ethnic hair care brand called Restore Plus. And I got the opportunity and I was invited to attend a conference at the L'Oreal head offices in Paris. And that was my first work trip ever. And it was just such an amazing opportunity as well, because I got to present the case study in terms of how, we had managed to launch Restore Plus in the market in South Africa, given a limited budget. But also we did not go above the line. It was a completely below the line launch. And we partnered with local salons to just make sure that we created some brand visibility and awareness for this launch. And we also did quite a lot of advertising in the taxi ranks, which is something that, and activations in the taxi ranks, which was something that was quite taboo for the French crowd. But it was a successful launch, and it was successful because we tried something new. And therefore it was breakthrough and disruptive.
So Kave, what would you say is driving you today?
You know, when I thought about this one, Dr. Nick, it took a while for me to actually think about the answer. But I think for me, what drives me is freedom and independence. Yeah. I think we have made the term work such a negative term. It's got such negative connotations. Everyone right now, the trend is for everybody to chase the social media life, whereas having a 9 to 5 is not as glamorous. But for me, I think I want to change that narrative. I think having a 9 to 5 for me has given me the freedom, has given me the independence to pursue my goals, to live my purpose, or live in my purpose, and to really achieve some amazing things in my career. Yeah, that's really what drives me when I wake up. Just knowing that I've got the ability, or I've been given the opportunity to be independent and to be free through my career. Yeah.
Thank you. And Khawe, looking into the future, and I know it's a big question, but what does the future of leadership mean to you?
It means it means a few things. So again, I think as leaders, we are constantly faced with a lot of challenges, and for me, the future of a leader, especially a young leader in South Africa, comes with those challenges. So for me, I had to write down that for me, it's understanding that, God holds you back sometimes for a reason. I think as young people, we always want to be successful. We are chasing success, which is the right thing to do, but we don't want to take the hard road, meaning step by step, you need to pursue your goals in bite-sized chunks, take the necessary steps to work hard, and eventually you will succeed. But for me, it's really trying to understand that sometimes, God holds you back until the road is safe and clear for you to cross, and He would never leave you behind. It's important for you to not to be in a rush, when you're trying to pursue your goals, and to really just understand that the time will come for you when the time will come when the time is right for you.
Right.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
And I think that's why they say patience is a leadership virtue.
Yes, that's it. It's really, I think a lot of people are just in such a rush to live a certain lifestyle, and they therefore don't do the necessary groundwork to really make sure that they are patient and they build a legacy, and they cover the basics before they can achieve their goals. And I think for me, because if you think about our country right now, Dr. Nick, leadership is really being tested. And as leaders, we're being tested every day. And for me, it's important that as future leaders, we remember the values that, our parents and our families imparted on us. We need to remember, our morals, and never just, give up on those values and your morals in the pursuit of a certain lifestyle.
Thank you. And tell us, looking back over your own journey, what is it that you consider most important for building future leaders? In other words, what is it we have to do more to empower, to encourage, to elevate future leaders?
I think for me, what has been a lesson, just looking at my own, journey, is to be brave. I think we need to allow future leaders to just be brave, be brave in the pursuit of what sets your heart on fire. And at times you find that future leaders, or at least middle management, are often told to, not to speak as loud, not to be brave when they're in the company of certain, executives. And for me, I just want to encourage people to be brave. I read a saying the other day on Instagram, which is my current screensaver. And it said that if you're an ocean, be an ocean. don't be a pond just because people can't swim. And for me, that was, it just highlighted the need for people to be brave. So, it said, if you are, an ocean, be an ocean, don't be a pond because people can't swim. So it's all about, for me, it reminds me of what my mom used to say to me was don't shrink in size just to make other people comfortable. So bravery for me is a big thing.
Thank you. And Kavi, these are challenging times as the world is stumbling from one crisis into the next. What is your advice for future leaders in terms of challenges? What are some of the biggest challenges they should expect to encounter in their career?
For me, the advice that I'll give here, Dr. Nick, is see challenges as opportunities. And for me, that's always been my motto in life. You see challenges as opportunities because everything that you go through really grows you. So be willing to go through challenges because the only way to really grow as a human being, the only way to grow as a leader is to go through challenges and therefore identify challenges and see them as opportunities. So that's the one big thing that I would say. And then for me, the second thing is future leaders will face this challenge of finding the balance, between between work and then your personal lifestyle. So finding the balance or the work-life balance is something that I think future leaders will all face. And I mean, it's a lifelong journey to find the balance. And for me, what's important is that as a leader or just as a human being, when you are in pursuit of finding balance, you find the things that make you happy. So one of those things for me is making sure that I find a way to re-energize. I find a way to refresh, so I keep active quite a lot. And for me, exercise has really assisted me with just finding the right balance. And then the second thing for me is to, again, it's about not compromising on your values and your morals. Again, I think as future leaders, if you are chasing, if you are not chasing the right things, or you are in this journey, not because you feel that or if you are in this journey because you are chasing the wrong things, therefore you'll always be susceptible to a lot of what is the word?
Temptations.
You'll be susceptible to a lot of temptations out there. And therefore, it's important that you find a way to just always think about, the values that you have and keep those values.
Thank you.
Moral codes.
And Kavi, if you were to design a curriculum for future leaders, what are some of the new skills that you would want to factor in?
For me, it's setting boundaries. Again, in the pursuit of having a work-life balance, it's important that you are able to say no, because no is a full sentence. When you are climbing the corporate ladder, you will be given a lot of opportunities. Some of those opportunities fall outside of your roles and responsibilities as per your contract. And obviously you'd want to take up those opportunities because you know that they will open certain doors, but not to the detriment of your own health. Where you find that you're actually just overextended and you're unable to therefore find that work-life balance. So you need to set boundaries, and we need to start teaching people that it's okay to say no. And also as I think as leaders, it's important that when our teams, say no to us and our employees say no to us, were able to accept that they've said no, because certain requests and requirements that we ask of them fall outside of their normal 9 to 5. So for me, I think that's a very important skill that everybody needs to have as a future leader.
Right. And Kavi, as a mentor to future leaders, can you maybe share a success story or two where you mentored an upcoming leader and that person took your advice to heart?
There's quite a few, stories, and I wouldn't necessarily call them mentees, but there is a young lady that I met when I was working at the South African breweries. At the time, I was a marketing manager about to launch quite a big brand, and she was working for our agency. So she was working for our digital agency. And when I was then looking for or building a team that would execute, and implement this big launch. And, she came to mind and she fit the role profile. And after a few interviews, she got the opportunity to join a big corporate such as SAB for the first time. And that unlocked a lot of opportunities for her. But what I loved about her was just her drive, her commitment, and her loyalty. And since meeting back in 2012, I think, at South African breweries, she's become one of my closest friends, and she's somebody that I always go to seek career advice even now. And she's gone on to do amazing things, having lived overseas, working for the United Nations, came back and is now pursuing a career in South Africa, and is doing extremely well in a career.
And tell us, looking back over your leadership career and maybe your learning journey, are there any role models of leadership that you have encountered and that you would recommend future leaders should study and learn from?
I can't recall one particular leader, but it takes a village to build or to raise a child. And for me, there have been so many people along my journey who have really been part or played a key role in shaping who I am. So for me, I think the first thing that I wanted just to share is that when it comes to role models, we always think about the people that are already successful. Mm. But for me, it's important that, you surround yourself with people that set your heart on fire. You surround yourself with people that are a good support system. You surround yourself with people that are not afraid to tell you when you are not doing the right things. So for me, my role models have always been family members. So my family has really provided a very strong foundation for me. So even my husband and my daughter, my daughter inspires me every day. She's 4 years old, but she's got such spark in her. She wakes up happy, and she just loves learning new things. So I also have, or belong to a stokvel, which is a stokvel which is made up of some of the most amazing ladies. Some are in corporate, some are entrepreneurs. And these are the ladies that really I seek guidance from a career point of view, but also as a mother. And we give each other quite a lot of advice, but it's a very strong, for me, support system. And then I also have a life coach. And I think for myself, if you think about role models, I love having conversations with my life coach because it's an opportunity for me just to be me, to be authentically me. And to also have somebody else who does not necessarily know me to just guide me through this challenging life, because life, is not easy. But having a life coach really helps me to just really go through some of the challenges that life throws at us sometimes.
And Kavi, how can our listeners connect with you and where should they follow you?
You can connect with me on LinkedIn. So people can follow me on LinkedIn. I am Qhawekazi Mdikane on LinkedIn, and that's really where they can connect with me. I post a lot of thought leadership articles on LinkedIn. I post a lot of the work that I'm doing at Momentum Corporate, and I post a lot about my entire career and my career journey is there on LinkedIn. So I've built quite a strong brand and a profile on LinkedIn. So you can follow me there.
Thank you. And last but not least, since you mentioned the word legacy, what is a leadership legacy you would like to leave? In other words, what would you like to be remembered for?
This one was quite a tough one.
I know.
And yeah, it's quite a tough one when you think about it. But I think when I just started unpacking it a bit, I realized that a turning point in my leadership journey was when I became a mother. And I became a mother in 2019, 17th of June. So exactly in 2 months' time, my daughter's turning 4.
Yeah.
And the reason why, for me, that was a turning point is because throughout my career before 2019, I was climbing the corporate ladder, and the only person that I was thinking about was myself. And when you become a mom, you know, motherhood forces you to now, firstly, just slow down and really take stock of your life, reflect on your vision, and as they say, or the saying goes, you know, being a mother is like wearing your heart on your sleeve for the entire world to see. And therefore, when I started raising Kanya, I realized that every single decision that I make in my life now has to be about how is it helping my daughter and other kids that look like her just to become the best, or to just have the best opportunities and to just become the best or live the best lives that they can live, and just be the best of themselves, you know. So as I have climbed the corporate ladder, I've been quite conscious and intentional about the type of brands that I align with or to, and the companies that I work for, because everything that I try and do is to make sure that I live a legacy that my daughter will be proud of. And also not just her, but also like future generations, when they look back, they say that, you know, this is a lady that assisted said brand to help us to achieve certain goals. So for example, the reason why I'm at Momentum Corporate now is because that I've realized that there's a lot of South Africans who don't have access to financial education. And a lot of South Africans are not financially literate. And for me, my country duty, and which I call, which is really maybe the legacy, is to make sure that in the marketing and building, you know, quite a sustainable brand, I make sure that people, I make sure that I'm solving real life problems that impact the economy, problems that impact society, and really will make sure that they bring some sort of an impact and change with society.
Well, Kavi, thank you so much for sharing your insights and your wisdom into the future of leadership and for helping us to build a better world.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity, Dr. Nita. I really appreciate it. Thanks talking to you.